This is Hoodies. Word. Here we go. Let's do this. Know what I mean? Alright. Welcome back to another dope session of Hoodies the Podcast. I'm the host of God Rashidi, coming at you live from the Skill Suite. Or maybe not so live, but we coming at you, man. Let's put one in the air for Hoodies the Podcast. Word. Man. I just put my phone down, and let's go ahead and go through it. This is to be a moment of silence for the late and greats Dikembe Mutombo and John Amos. Dikembe Mutombo, not in this house. Exceptional basketball player. And from what I understand, man, he's a giant even off the court. Was a giant even off the court. You know what I'm saying? Opening hospitals on the continent, things of that nature. Fam. Great man, larger than life. You know what I'm saying? Beloved by everyone he came in contact with. Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo and John Amos, also known as James Evans from Good Times. Some great fond memories from that show. He also played in Roots. He was the adult Toby in Roots. Iconic role. Then, of course, his role in Coming to America, Mr. McDowell. It's crazy. We think we know these people in their personal lives just because we see them on TV. We think we know them, but we really don't. We just somehow resonate with the character. Me coming up a lot younger, before I got to really know my old man, and way before the relationship that we have now, you kind of looked at James Evans, shit, is like your dad. He was that no-nonsense father that didn't take no shit and did everything he needed to do to provide for his family. Now, mind you, they never, made it out the projects, projects in Chicago, which, of course, if you know anything about the show, was really filmed in California and not in Chicago. And I found this out just a couple years ago. My point is, these characters, it resonates with you. Especially when you don't necessarily have a father in the home. You looked at James Evans as like your dad. The same thing for Heathcliff Huxtable, Bill Cosby's character. And believe it or not, I could almost identify with Theo on the show. So, yeah, man. What a big loss, man. And Lil Bro was just texting me and just saying, like, yo, is it just me? Are we losing all these greats that gave us some really fond memories? Life after basketball for Dikembe was pretty awesome, from what I understand. Philanthropy, you know what I'm saying? He was extremely involved in the welfare of other people. People, period, but a lot of Africans, a lot of our people on the continent. You know what I'm saying? Wonderful deeds. John Amos, even after Good Times and so on, you'd see him here and there, different shows. So he stayed working. And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on any of this though, but if I'm not mistaken, I think John Amos may have been dealing with dementia. But don't quote me on it. Look into it for yourself to see it. Suppose it doesn't much matter now. He's transitioned. Rest in peace, and heartfelt condolences and such goes out to their families. May you greats, may you giants rest well. Word. Now, yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into this thing, all right? Let's do it. So listen, man. I've kind of been in this little space to where there's a lot of things I've discussed in the past, very briefly in other episodes, like years ago, that I don't know. I kind of feel compelled to talk about them again now. So one of those things that I brought up before is trust. Trust. Yeah, man. Trust is crazy, or should I say intimacy, right? And when I say intimacy, for those of you who are in the know, you know that when I say intimacy, I'm not necessarily talking about sex. It's not necessarily to exclude it, but I'm not necessarily talking about sex. Uh, Being vulnerable, okay? Being vulnerable can be a form of intimacy. Or should I say, uh, being with someone, being with someone whom you've created a safe space with, a safe space in which, there's a space that you can be vulnerable in. Now that's some real intimacy. You know what I'm saying? When I can kind of unload and tell you what I'm dealing with, tell you how I'm feeling, how I'm really doing. Outside of the, you know what I'm saying, I'm the God Rashidi, outside all the other things, that's a true form of intimacy, right? It's a beautiful thing when a person can open up and express themselves, right? And it's not weaponized. You understand what I'm saying? Like say if, and what I mean by an example of weaponizing things, or weaponizing something, is when, damn, babe, I lost your keys. Damn, I can't find them. I've been looking for them all morning. You lost my keys? Damn, nigga, you lost my keys? See, that's why your father was on drugs. See, that's that shit right there. That's why you, ooh. What the fuck does my pop being on drugs got to do with anything? What the fuck does that have to do with me losing your keys? I get it. You got a right to be upset because I lost your keys and you're probably going to be late for work. You know what I'm saying? That might not have been the best example, like I said, because I don't do stuff like that. But it's not to say that it can't happen. You see what I'm saying? Now, hypothetically speaking, in this scenario, I shared, some information, in a space that I was under the impression was safe enough for me to be vulnerable and tell you some things about me, about my family, about my old man, and his plight and the things he's had to deal with in his life, and then my mom's and the things he's had to deal with in her life. And now, as soon as you get up in your feelings, you take something I told you and throw it in my face as a way to hurt me and make me feel like shit because I'm not perfect. That's weaponizing things or something I've told you. Or I share with you, my blood pressure's been a little elevated. You know what I mean? I need to work on that, And I found out that the plant-based, whatever's was heavy in salt, you know what I mean? And now here we are having a little back and forth. See, you need to chill. You see, that's why your blood pressure high. Because it's shit like that right there. What does one have to do with the other one? You see what I'm saying? If I can't be vulnerable with you, it's really hard for me to trust you. You understand what I'm saying? But if you are someone, say like a good friend or a family member, you know what I mean? Or my lady, fam, come on. I should be able to trust you. I should be able to be intimate with you. Trust is so much deeper than hoping your woman don't suck another nigga's dick. It's way deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? It's way deeper than hoping your man ain't getting some toppy from some other broad. It's deeper than that. That may be part of it, but it's way deeper than that. Can I talk to you? Can you shut up long enough to listen? That goes both ways. A lot of times, especially folk in my age bracket, we tend to think we know every fucking thing. Sometimes I've had to stop myself sometimes. Like, let me chill. Let me chill. I may not necessarily be right about that. You know what I'm saying? Happens to me too. Not that I'm all that special. I am, but not special enough to be coming about my mouth saying things, and I don't necessarily know it. You know? I like to check myself every now and then. Think about that though. You know what I'm saying? If I can't be intimate with you, I can't trust you. Listen, it's everybody's responsibility to create the space that they desire. It's everybody's responsibility. If you're part of a circle of friends, it's everybody's responsibility to see to it that they provide a safe space so that whatever friend can come through, you know what I mean, come in the circle and say, look, man, I'm dealing with some shit right now, man. Listen, man, I think my lady think she fucking a neighbor, or you know, I think my daughter is getting finger popped by the nigga across the, I think my son might be gay, or you understand what I'm saying? We need a safe space, and I'm not just saying just for men. I'm saying people, period. In our relationships, it's up to each individual to provide that safe space. The safe space that they seek, they should provide it. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I don't feel safe to be vulnerable with you, who do I feel safe to be vulnerable with? Nobody's exempt from that. But it's so much deeper than hoping that a person don't sleep with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Can I be sick around you? Hey, can I be wrong around you? Can I be sad? Can I be hurt? You know, there's this song I was just thinking of just now. Pardon me, y'all. I'm kind of all up in here. There's this song by this artist. I know y'all heard of him, named Avant, right? And there's this one joint he got. Basically, the hook in the song is talking about how, can you love me when it hurts? Listen, man. There may come a time in everybody's relationship, maybe not, but there may come a time in everybody's relationship where you might let your significant other down. You know what I'm saying? You just may let them down. It could be unintentional. Man, I say all the time, think about those relationships that's lasted 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Shit, some 70 years. You know? I think the Minister Farrakhan and mother sister Khadijah Farrakhan, I believe they've been married for maybe 70 some years. Something like that. Point is, think of all the things these people have seen. Think of all the things these people have felt. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was let down. Somebody lost someone's trust, had to get it back. Somebody disconnected and had to reconnect. Somebody might have yoked the other one up. Bitch, who the fuck you talking to? What, nigga? Don't be. You know. Listen, man. Relationships of all kind, they only work when the people do. They only work when the people involved work on it. And I ain't trying to say I'm the best. I'm not saying that I have the best emotional intelligence. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't super deep. I did just want to stop through and check in. Had a couple things on my mind, so I decided to plug up the mic. Real quick before I get out of here, I was just scrolling through the site formerly known as Twitter, and I'm just scrolling down, thumbing as I like to call it, and I'm looking and I'm seeing that Israel has bombed Lebanon and Syria and various other places, right? And then there were, airstrikes and all, and then there were pictures of folk in these areas that were slain. News reporters, doctors, the whole nine. They had pictures of people just slain in these airstrikes. And I get it. It's war. I get it. You're out there wearing a suit. I get it. It's war. But it made me think of when I was serving, and I remember when Clinton was still in. I want to say Saddam. This wasn't Desert Storm, because Desert Storm, I was still in high school, but the next possible conflict that was about to pop off, I'm saying, after that. So I was out to sea, and the ship that I was on, I believe we were headed to Italy, and we got rerouted and sent to the Gulf to go deal with conflict there. I remember when the captain came over to 1MC, which is the intercom on the ship. He gave the announcement that we're changing course. We've been directed to go and support the fleet, to go fight this, possible conflict. So I remember leading up, so we got rerouted, and on the way there, of course, there's radar. We're communicating with the ships in the fleet, and there's the aircraft carrier. Up front, you see submarines, and you hardly ever see them because they're most of the time submerged, right? Various ships, destroyers, cruisers, the whole nine. And I was on a replenishment ship, which did replenishment. We replenished the ships in the fleet with fuel when there's mail, right? And then when we do unreps, as they call it, unrep is short for underway replenishment. We would give them their mail to the different ships. We give them fuel, ammunition, the whole nine. Now, mind you, when we're doing these unwraps, there's two ships riding side by side while this happens. And we could be next. It's like, say, here's the supply ship and here's the aircraft carrier. And say the aircraft carrier, normally got planes on it. But this time, I noticed that the planes were armed with bombs and missiles, that shoot out the wings on the fighter jets. There's missiles mounted on them. That was when I knew, oh, shit's getting serious. I remember talking about it in the galley. Everybody's like, yo, damn, this shit is getting serious. People were getting nervous. People were calling home, especially after the captain came and gave us the warning and so on and so forth, right? So I thought of that when I thought of Israel doing these airstrikes. And then so many things hit my mind. I'm also thinking, when people come up to you or to us as veterans and say, thank you for your service. All of us, the ones who are active duty now and us veterans. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. And the one I really don't like is thank you for fighting for our freedoms, when nobody's trying to take our freedoms. That's some shit George Bush put out there when the strikes against the Twin Towers in New York. That fighting our freedoms, which wasn't the truth. But anyway, while people are saying thank you for your service, little do they know, right? Okay, yeah, it sounds good with fighting for our country. But in all actuality, we're really just fighting over some politician's POV. You know what I'm saying? And listen, the POV can be coming from, both countries. Ours and the one we're getting ready to go into conflict with. These are just POVs, points of views. And that's pretty crazy, man. just for someone to have an idea, a POV. I don't like, or I want, or, and I'm of the belief that it's never really over religious crap. Men can be petty, but not that fucking petty. It's got a lot to do with resources. I'm sure of that. And that's crazy. How life can mean so little when it comes to resources. And yeah, America is guilty of taking some shit that ain't necessarily America's. The reason we think we're going to war over is not necessarily the reason. Every act that you vote for or against isn't necessarily what we've been told that it really is. They're telling you this, that, and the third. All of that, it's that act or whatever it is, that proposal or whatever, is one thing under the guise of another. If that makes any sense whatsoever. The real ones get it. If you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. We're being told this, that, and the third under the guise of this, that, and the third. We know nothing. And I didn't really have a point with that. I just wanted to share where my mind went and to say that, listen, man, there are all kinds of wars going on right now in countries we may have never even heard of. There's war and conflict going on a continent. And be clear, whenever you hear me say the continent, when I'm not specific, I'm talking about Africa. That's what I call the continent. The continent. If I'm not talking about Africa, I usually specify and say Europe and so on and so forth. But there are wars going on, various wars on the continent for one reason or another. Someone's being exploited. It's for resources, this, that, and the third. The Ukraine and Russia, and of course, then there's Israel and the Palestine. And there's wars going on, and like I said, in places that we don't even know about. There's troops deployed in places that the news is not telling us about. And so I'm saying all that to say that my heart goes out to everybody that's in the middle of conflict. Whatever end that you happen to be on. The women and children, the elderly, even the soldiers who's got to go fight a war. They don't even really know. They don't even know what the fuck they fighting for. They just following orders, man. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, the war that we all fight within ourselves. Because that's another war. And oftentimes, that's the war that kills us the quickest. So, my heart goes out to everybody who's in a war right now and trying their best to survive that war. And to say that I applaud your efforts, regardless of how hard it is, and I salute you. Word. Stay in there as best you can. Word. And that's for me, the God Rashidi. Thank you for your likes, shares, and subs. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for watching. All that good stuff, man. I stay up. I'm the God Rashidi. This is Hoodies. Peace. Hey. This is Hoodies.